Okay. Thanks, everyone. I'm Sarah Patel. As was mentioned, I'm from Nativo. We are a storytelling platform that really focuses on getting engagement from authentic content and then connecting outcomes to those stories. So I'm really excited. Brand love is our jam. Really great panel. I would love if you could all go down the line and introduce yourself and then your roles, responsibilities, and also what your favorite viral trend is right now.
All right, is this on? Yes, okay. I'm Linda Lollo. I work for Goodyear. I also support the Goodyear blimp, so blimps are cool by tires. The team that does this is a team of one, and she's amazing, and she's actually up at the hangar today. So my responsibility is digital communications on LinkedIn, on some of our global channels, as well as employee ambassadors and our corporate website. So it's a little bit of everything on the global side. My favorite trend right now for us, because it's working really, really well, is trending audio on the Goodyear blimp Instagram. So if you haven't checked it out, it's amazing. And like I said, the person doing it is amazing. I'm not going to reveal her, but if you want to talk to me, I'll tell you who it is. But I can tell you that what they're doing and what they're tapping into is with $0. It's all done in-house. So it's been a really fun thing to see. And the new merch has come out of that.
I'm Athena Nestoris. I'm a senior manager overseeing our advertising strategy in the U.S. for United Airlines, based in Los Angeles, but I report into Chicago. The trend that I'm most interested in right now is more personal. I love cooking. There is a TikTok influencer right now, Logan, and he is obsessed with Korea and all of their food and everything. He goes all the time. He's got a viral trend right now about cucumber salads. You could eat a cucumber every day, slice it on a mandolin, so many different ways to do it. I love cooking and I love cucumbers.
Hi, I'm Christy Darabon. I am with the Aspen Group. If you don't know, Aspen Dental is our biggest brand. We have a portfolio of 6 different brands. And I'm the head of social for all brands, as well as influencers and the COE leader. I'm responsible for brand social, employee advocacy, our doctor social, influencers, and every other thing, social care, you name it. But it's been a great experience. I've also previously just came from Nationwide for the last 6.5 years as the AVP of social. Lots of different industries for me, but 20 years of digital plus experience. Favorite viral trend, I'm gonna go with 2. The first one being the deeper than, when someone says what they mean and then what they really mean. I think there's been some funny examples there. And then the double life where social media rock stars are revealing themselves.
Yeah. Awesome. Hi, Saakait Mathur. I'm the brand director of... Man, I got a fan club here. I didn't even realize. I am the brand director over the Miracle-Gro business at the Scott's Miracle-Gro company. Really awesome place to work. We are all about thriving plants, so ask us anything about if you have any challenges growing plants, we'll be happy to help. My favorite trend, so I was talking to my wife to figure out what my favorite trend is because that's where all of my most inspiration comes from, and she told me about the cucumber thing too, but I was like, no, you know what, I think I'm going to go with a real marketing-focused trend, which is the Gen Z marketing trend that we're seeing, like a lot of older generation people trying to use Gen Z slang to like hype up their stuff. It is hilarious. We've done some things with similar trends on our platforms for Miracle-Gro. The Gen Z intern edited this one is another one that I'm a big fan of. So those were a couple.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to read some numbers because I think this is wild to think about. The amount of people on social media has now hit 5.2 billion. Each person on average uses between 6 to 7 different social media accounts, and that is clocked to come in around 220 billion being spent in this space this year. Okay, so there's a lot of clutter is what I'm trying to say, and everybody has a very different algorithm. How do you cut through that clutter and reach, who you're really trying to reach? Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to take this one.
Okay.
So I think the algorithms, they're really playing towards the content that is on there. So if you are authentic to your brand, you're making sure that your product is showing up, the algorithms are naturally going to find the right people. So it's important to make sure that your brand shows up in that first 3 seconds that people can see, and then it's going to find lookalike audiences from there. And then you can always boost that with, paid advertising as well.
I like to think of social as a search engine now. So I think it's really about giving valuable content, because when people are looking for something, you need to show up there. And if you're going to give them something that's worth seeing, instead of always trying to train my team, like, trends are great, but they won't remember you for what you're trying to sell. They're going to remember you because of the trends. So how are you going to integrate what you're actually selling so that when search comes up, people are going to you and they can remember you for that?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think one of the things that we do is really focus our social to address the specific audiences, right? So we're not trying to be everything for everybody on social. So we really focus our content on particular cohorts and tailor our content and focus with creators to be like fun, engaging for younger generations. That's who we're trying to really go after in social. And so that helps us make sure that we're staying focused and not trying to, do too much.
And I think for us, tires are a grudge purchase. Like, nobody wants to buy them. It's a horrible, horrible thing to buy.
Dental work too.
So I get discounts. So if anybody needs one, just hit me up, because it's awful. So we as a brand and I don't sit on marketing, I sit on the global communications team, have been a little afraid to talk about tires because everybody's mad because there's a hole in it, they're expensive. It's not something you want to buy. So we started to incubate a process on the Goodyear blimp accounts, because you can't get mad at the blimp and you can't get mad at the pilots. So what started to happen is we incubated this process to use the trends, but to keep the blimp first and foremost, to cut through the clutter. So what we're learning on those accounts is what we're hoping to apply to the brand accounts in terms of process and people, but most importantly, the data. We want the audiences and the audience sharing, because we're really leaning into the trending audio, the trending, the pilots they're paid actors, but they're not paid to act. And having that content serve up into the feeds of the people we want, especially those younger drivers who want to choose a premium brand when they have to. And again, nobody wants to. So that's the challenge.
Okay, so let's lean into that, especially between the two of you, right? Travel can be fun, gardening fun, going to the dentist, meh, getting a new tire, same, right? So how do you redirect those, angry people or those people on social media that are coming to you because they're angry?
So we're doing a couple things. One is we're trying to help them be preventative. So giving them the tools that they need so they don't have to come. But my biggest reason for joining was because I told them I don't want to see people in dentist chairs. That's where they're the most scared. And so if we can show them the results, if we can show them the benefits, that's where it's really going to pay off. And if you have had any teeth issues, you know that after you've gotten it fixed is like the best feeling in the world. So showing the emotional impact and the benefits of that has been a really good benefit, but giving people the tools to say that, okay, I know what I need to do to not have that happen is really helpful. And then we have another brand called Clear Choice, which is focused on dental implants, very, very high profile purchasing, very custom teeth design, and it's a really big commitment. So I know Airstream was talking about this, like you have to nurture someone to really want to commit to a purchase like that. So we started a Facebook group community because that's where our audience is, and the patients are helping each other. People who've had it done are helping people who are thinking about getting it done answer all the questions that we shouldn't be answering for them. And it's been such an amazing success to be able to say that someone can ask, will I be in pain? And people will respond and say, it's so minimal, I was shocked. And they're talking for you.
So understanding that you're dealing with, first time people going to the dentist and also people who are getting implants, and you're talking like gardening, they're the boomers who are out there gardening because they have the free time, but then they're the people who've got the plants on their back porch in the middle of the city. You all have a multitude of different audiences. How do you really, and you touched on a little bit, but how do you really make sure that you're reaching both of them without offending another generation?
Yeah, I can start. So this is something that we deal with every day, right? So we have to really think about who we really need to grow with. We have a really great brand that has amazing awareness, amazing love. When you think about the Miracle-Gro brand, it's helped people grow. It's a heritage brand that's existed for 75 years, and so there's a lot of people who already love us and they know us really well. What we need to do is make sure that new generations know and love our brand as much as they do already, right? The existing generations do already. So we have to look at media habits and usage, and look at social media as a way to bring in new, not necessarily serve the old. It's not a selling tool. Like, we're not here to just like help people buy product. It's to really turn ourselves into a lifestyle influencer type brand, right? We're not here just to be the #1 gardening brand in social media. We're here to become a lifestyle influencer for those people. And so that's the type of content we try to put out there. It's not about always our products and how it works. It's about what we can do that's fun and relevant to those audiences that we're trying to grow with.
I think for us, so on the accounts that we manage, so LinkedIn is one that I've got full control over, in the Goodyear blimp handles. And I think what we've learned from those audiences is that people want to buy from people. I mean, that's not anything new. So really adjusting the voice so that it sounds like it's a person and not a brand, and you're not talking to a tire, and we're not going to be gimmicky, and we're not going to be cheeky. We're not going to be Wendy's. Maybe someday, because things are changing, I don't know. But I think what we're really starting to do is lean into the data. So I said about incubating that process on the blimp, it's become a little more show and tell. So look what we can do. Here are the insights. Here's the data. Here's what we can learn. Now imagine if we scaled this up globally. So that's where we are right now, is a little, back to the basics, is learning who people are, where they are, what they're mad at, what they love. And with Goodyear, it's different because we've got some heritage. Obviously, we've been around for a really long time, 126 years. Blimp's been around for almost 100 years. So you've got this mix, almost like what Airstream was talking about, where you've got this historical, nostalgic feeling, but you also have this performance part, and you have to balance both, and then all the passenger stuff in the middle. So I think we just need to figure out who we are to who, and lean into the data that we can get from social, and that's where we're starting. So it's a little at the beginning of the beginning, which is what the blimp handles were when I was here last year. So I'm excited. Hopefully I get invited back to show what we've done in a year from now, because it's moving really fast.
At United, we really focus on the purchase life cycle of travelers. And so there's a really neat insight, and hopefully some folks can relate to this. When you are on your current trip, or your current trip is ending, you're already thinking about booking that next trip, right? Where am I going to go next? Where's spring break? I'm going for the holidays. What about summer? I want to go plan that. So social plays such an important role there, and influencers, content creators, employee content creators that we utilize all the time, they're sharing that and showing the experience.
Ooh, let's talk about that. So influencers, you were mentioning how, the employees are great influencers. Is it a blimp? Is it employees? Is it celebrities? Like, what are your best influencers out there for social?
The blimp.
The blimp.
The blimp. Honestly, though, we're trying to enable and empower our associates. Historically, at Goodyear, people have been a little reluctant. Again, big old heritage brand. It's scary. And unfortunately, before I joined, there was a Trump tweet that they were not prepared for that was a gut punch. So social in general sometimes elicits a PTSD response in people. So we're really working to educate and empower our employees, because there's some really amazing people that work there, patent owners and people who invent things. And that story is sort of buried. And we're trying to help set them up as influencers, but we don't say influencers because they get scared of that word. And then I think in general, exploring what influencers look like for tires and blimp, for honestly, like, we don't need you to sell the blimp, but we want to see what influencers would look like if we did tap them for blimp content. So coming soon, I just don't know how soon yet.
I guess leaning into employee influencers, at United we call them employee content creators. It's a little less intimidating. Yeah. And so when you think about a brand like United, a business like United, we have so many frontline employees, pilots, flight attendants, ramp service agents that are handling bags. They're traveling to all of these amazing destinations that we serve, whether it's in the US or globally. And so a lot of them are already on social, posting about their experiences. One of my favorite employee content creators right now, his handle is My Layover Life. And he is one of our pilots, Paul Holt, and he is, a more senior pilot that he has been traveling the globe. So it's so interesting. He just posted this week. He just went to Malaga, Spain, and that's a place I've never thought of going, and now I want to go. And so it's just that is happening organically, and how can we bring our creators, our employees in on that, and they can help tell the story of our brand as well.
We also lean into employees. Ours is unique because we have a lot of doctors, and so they need to be thought leaders, and we have to build this trust around them. So creating that content about who they are from a personality standpoint and their expertise has been really important to us. So in some cases, there are talent. In other cases, there are creators. And I think it's been a good balance where we are hoping to scale it so we can get more and more of them comfortable with that, but also leveraging their office staff to train them so that they can be there to create content on a regular basis. The biggest win for us is patient stories. And real life examples of people who have gone through treatment. So they're the best influencers, even though we're using the gamut, but they're often reluctant to want to do that. So the more comfortable we can get our staff and our doctors in asking them to participate, it's going to be a better outcome for us to get the whole journey of the patient when my team is not able to be there at all times. So patients, doctors, and we're also using influencers. One of our brands is called Motto. It's a clear aligner like Invisalign, and we get them through treatment. We give them the treatment, and then they go through it, and you get to watch at each step as they change out their trays and what the example is. And in a lot of cases, this is like more minor adjustments, so it's a 6-month process, but it's a nice commitment to only have to go through 6 months, but really see them go through the journey.
Sounds like there's a common thread there of like leveraging employees, and we have Brian Hood, who is an amazing creator who works for our company that creates a lot of great content. But we also do look at it across kind of the macro, mega, micro, nano trend set to understand who are good influencers, who are good creators. We leverage Martha Stewart as a mega influencer, and yet we have other partnerships with a lot of nano influencers that are more closer to like gardening, in real life kind of settings. And so each kind of person, each influencer plays a different type of role, and the authenticity of our brand and connecting with people.
Love it. To kind of go back to the trust and the safety, there are a lot of, when you think about flying, you're thinking about, I'm nervous flying. If you go to the dentist, same sort of thing. There's also wars happening that you might not have considered. As a brand, to ensure you're connecting with these people, but you're also very mindful of what they're going through. What is your strategy there? And I guess this also has to do with tires and accidents. Yeah.
Internally at United, we all talk about it, and externally, safety is our top priority, no matter what division you're in, where you are. So that is just something that is built into our company. Our executives talk about it all the time. A division of our company or our team also manages our executive socials. So Scott Kirby, our CEO, and lots of those, we're starting to work on more of them and helping communicate out, on LinkedIn, on their LinkedIn channels. 9/11 just passed. United is very tied to that event, and that is very near and dear to our hearts. So how are we communicating with folks about those? And also being mindful on social, with, an election coming up, a war going on, we're just so tied to current events happening right now. We fly to almost all of these destinations, and we have a tie to all of these communities. So we have to be very mindful of when we're posting, what we're posting about. Is it the right time? Do we need to turn off our advertising? Is it not the right time to be here? So really being mindful of where we're showing up, how we're showing up, and when.
I would say for us, we do a really great job internally of talking about safety. I wouldn't think, I mean, the tires need to be safe. They're the only thing of your vehicle that touches the road at all times. So when you think about that, you have to think about what our teams are doing and what our engineers are designing for. I think the opportunity for us is to lean out a little more and share that more externally and empower our teams to do it first. And again, like I said, we've been historically reluctant to do that. But like I said, internally, safety is key, and we're always watching. Like, we've got monitoring in place for crisis, for locations, especially where we have stores, where we have people. We're a global brand, so it's all over the place. So we proactively are watching all of that, but I don't think we're proactively talking about it. And I'm excited to look at some of these other brands and see how you guys are doing it, so we can start to pitch it to our leaders to be more thoughtful in that area.
I'll just add one quick note that we're also responding to pretty much every comment that we get. And so to have that outward facing message showing people that we will be there on the social side at least and respond in a very quick manner and hopefully resolve your issue, that's how we're hoping to build trust, is even if you had a negative experience, we want to fix it.
Are there a certain amount of touch points that you really look at to build that trust throughout the year? Is there something that you're, 8 to 10 is something that I think we say in the industry, just in media in general, right? Like that same 8 to 10. But if it's really meaningful, right, it can be a lot lower. Is there something that you look at, or success metric that you look at with your social media campaigns where you're like, I got it. I'm doing it right?
I'd say it's not social focused, but at least for advertising, we're really focused on a 7 times frequency across the targeted audience that we're looking at. And we find that does drive success for us, and people are understanding our messages there.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know if we're looking at a particular number. I think we're looking at it more so from contextual relevance, right? Like, what is success? I mean, right now, I could tell you, of course, I want people to buy Miracle-Gro plant food and soils, but that's not success. Success is, growing, brand love, right? We're here for that, right? So I want to make sure that we're monitoring the metrics that measure, are people more engaged with our brand? Do they feel like they can trust our brand? So it's just more so about like making sure that we're connecting at all times of the year. We're a seasonal business, but can we connect with people outside of the season that they're growing things, just to make sure that we have a relationship that they can just know that we're there for them.
And you're growing pretty exponentially right now too, right? Like, and you're monitoring followers pretty.
Yeah, that's right. We've taken on this social media strategy in the past year, have had some really great success. I mean, 200% growth. Like, we've gone from roughly 25,000 Instagram followers to we're at like 90, like just a tinge under 92 right now, 92,000 right now. And obviously not the millions that United has, but certainly like aspirations. We wanted to be at 50, and we're almost doubling that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's about those touch points. It's about the content. It's about like authenticity. It's about not trying to sell them something, but really trying to grow a relationship with them. And that's what we've seen success with.
Grow a relationship. Yeah. That was good. And then I know that we talked a little bit about brand reputation. Now that's really what your focus is, kind of across the board. Is there any other success metrics that you're really looking at that stands out from the rest?
Yeah, we're also looking at the full customer journey and saying like how and when is social impacting that journey, and it's really at many parts. But when we're thinking about metrics, it's what is that brand reputation and brand reach? So share of voice amongst our competitors. We're actually one of the biggest, but does that mean the sentiment matches the share of voice? Because if it's mostly negative, that's not a good thing at the end of the day. But it also is something, we're the eyes and ears for the business. So if there's recurring themes of issues coming up, we can't fix it as social. We can help them resolve it after the fact, but to prevent it, we need to talk to the business to have them fix it. And then really we're a service industry, so getting people to book appointments is the biggest thing for us, getting people in seats. So driving them to our website in creative and unique ways, which is really hard to do. People don't want to leave platform. But at the end of the day, what we want them to do is either learn more or find a location or book an appointment. And a brand like Aspen, people know it for mostly emergency dental and like, oh, something happened and I need to get it fixed, I know there's one close by. With as many locations as we have, it's one of the most convenient, but also there's typically availability that day. So making sure that that's known and that people can come for us for that, but then also broadening it so that they'll come down and want to learn more about some of the bigger work that we do.
And then for us, so since I sit on the comms side, we tend to, I'm an ex-marketing in comms. I'm kind of in both worlds, so disclaimer there that in the comms world, everybody's about impressions. And so they're super excited about impressions, and I'm super excited for them. But I would love to show them how the impressions can help sell tires. And so I think for me, what we look at right now is what my bosses want to see, which is impressions. But they also, we're starting to train them on engagement rate so they can see that it's quality impressions too, not just random eyeballs. And I think where my role has been unique with the background that I have is I'm starting to educate these comms people on the ability for us to use all of this content and use all of this stuff for the data, and we're connecting dots. So the types of conversations we are having are, how can we use the blimp to buy or to sell tires? Well, we're not going to put a QR code on the thing. Somebody actually suggested that. We're like, no, nobody is going to just buy now on their feed from a blimp thing. I mean, that'd be cool, but we'd have to hit you at just at the right time, and we're probably not doing that. So I said it's the data, it's the audience sharing. So now my job, where I'm tasked, is a massive governance project to kind of fix the internal plumbing of all of our social accounts and make sure those the data, the audiences are connected properly. Again, incubating that process on the blimp side, proving it out, and now hopefully rolling it out further. Good thing I've got friends, because it's going to take a lot to do it. But the data is what I'm getting them to believe in, while we're still proving out the success of the content with, like, on LinkedIn, we've got like 7 to 10% average engagement rate per month. So that's giving me the street cred to say, I know what we're doing. So, like, let me keep getting you the impressions and the eyeballs, but we're also going to work over here on connecting it to sales through data.
Okay, so it's very obvious that social media isn't all just fun and games from hearing these stories. And one thing that we should probably talk about a little bit more is that we're moving into Q4, it's the busy holiday season, but it's an election year. Are you going to lean in because we know that consumption of content is up by like a quarter, or are you going to lean away and just put your head in the sand?
I would say Goodyear is going to try to stay neutral. We had a Trump tweet. We don't want to be in the crosshairs of any one political candidate. So we're just going to carefully watch what's going on. For us, we need to watch our associates, I think, more so than anybody. We have a very diverse group of associates all over the U.S. with very diverse opinions in our plants and our offices. So that's where we have a lot of our monitoring set up, where we're getting alerts really quick on some keywords that you could probably guess. So we're trying to do that. But our content, our external content, will not reflect any political affiliation. We're just going to keep having fun on the blimp accounts.
Yeah, I feel like everyone needs a little bit of fun during this time, right? A little bit of a break. We are also not leaning into it at all. You know, our customer base is very diverse as well. They're all across the country. And from an advertising perspective, we're actually going to be turning off our social, just because, you know, it's going to be rough out there. It already is, and there's no reason for us to pay money to give more folks a platform to do that on our channels.
Okay, so Scott's is a seasonal advertiser, so you don't have to worry about the political season.
Yeah, that helps us.
Okay.
We are. I mean, we're not going to turn off our social. I think we're going to keep doing what we do, which is we're here. If you need help growing a plant, we're going to be here for you, right? So it doesn't matter who you are. You know, we're about you if you're willing and able to grow a plant and help it thrive. So that's what we're going to continue doing.
And you have key seasonal times, right? So during the off season, what's your focus on the off season? Are you being cutesy? Are you being mindful?
Demure, very much, very very demure. But I think the answer is, like, we try to extend ourselves, right? Growing plants doesn't have to be an outdoor thing, right? There's, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people who live in Chicago, LA, New York, in an apartment, and they're not necessarily growing in a raised bed or a landscape behind their house because they don't have one, right? And so we're trying to extend the understanding of how you can grow plants indoors and how you can be successful, and trying to create the fun type of content that'll get people excited to do those types of projects. So, it's just thinking a little bit differently than truly like, hey, this is the season, we need to act in the season, to more of how do we connect with people, how do we talk to them about things that they could do in gardening projects inside their home, but also just be fun and have content that may not have anything to do with actually growing a plant, because we're a lifestyle influencer, not just a gardening brand.
So getting back to brand love and out of all of the stickier stuff, is there anything that you're working on right now that you just love? You're so excited, you wanna champion it, shout it from the rooftops. Just a project that you're really psyched about that no one can share. No.
Yeah, I can share one. So yesterday, we just were in the New Heights podcast with Travis Kelsey and his brother Jason. So they had a fun little riff on there. Please go listen to it. That came together really quickly, actually before their deal broke with Wondery. So we got in a little early on that one, but that one's really proud. I'm really proud of the team because we came together really quick, put a script together, and now we're part of that podcast.
I have a more back-end project. We've been working on what we're calling our new content engine. So realized we have plenty of offices in the Chicagoland area, or where most of our team lives. So we've been actually kind of doing surprise visits to some of our offices. And instead of pre-planning with patients, like, will you be willing to be in video? We're actually showing up with donuts and saying, like, we'd love to feature you in your journey. And we had like a 60% acceptance rate. And so that was like an amazing learning for us. And it was so easy. We had an iPhone and donuts and just had the experience with the patient ourselves, made that brand trust, represented the company in a way that felt very warm and friendly and authentic. It wasn't even the doctor. So, because I think that can even be intimidating. Mm-hmm. So we're testing a few different ways how we can gather content quickly and turn it around really quickly. And it was some of our best performing ads.
I love that. I'm excited about some of the stuff that we tested some things earlier this year. So 420, a big grower holiday. We actually partnered with Action Bronson, did some really cool activations where we shipped him some of our new products and had him test stuff out on a rooftop in New York City, to the point of like not everybody has a backyard. And it was a really fun activation. People got really excited by it. Great engagement. And so we're going to find ways to make that bigger this year. So.
And then I've got one, I hinted at it. It's not as fun. You might not see it, but we're globalizing social media at Goodyear. So it's been a labor of love for a few years, and now people are starting to pay attention. So that's amazing. So diving back into Sprinkler, diving back into the back end of Facebook. So if we do it right, you guys won't even know. On the other side, the blimp turns 100 next year. So I don't directly work on it. My team member, who's amazing, the behind the scenes, she's the wizard. She's working on it. And so there's some fun new blimp merch launching. This is one of the latest ones, but there's some coming. And it's going to be available to the public on the Goodyear store. There's a website. So look for that coming. And there'll be a lot of activations planned for next year.
Okay, we're nearing the end, so I've got two quick wrap-up questions. One being, a brand is brand new to social media, or they are a social media planner, they're brand new. What's one piece of advice that you give them out of the gate?
You can't win the comment war. I think it's been, I've worked for brands like Disney and Nestle, and you cannot win the comment war. If someone is negative, they just want to be negative, give them a courtesy, and if they want to take your help, great, but if not, let it go. It feels personal, but let it go.
I'd say that's everybody should follow that. Take a few breaths, don't say anything. But from a social standpoint, I'd say really make sure that you understand who you are as a brand. We talk about ourselves in the social space as this really cool brand that is oh, what's the word? No, now my team is going to be like laughing at me because I can't remember exactly the phrases. But we're trying to be like authentically like this coach that's like really inspiring and equipping people to grow. We translate that into social space in this particular way, and we just need to make sure that we act that way all the time. Like, don't try to be who we're not. Like, be true to who your brand really is.
I would say fail forward and do it scared, because you're going to fail, you're going to flop, and things that you thought are going to be amazing, somebody's going to have a problem with it. So just pick yourself up and move on and do the next thing and learn and not to do that, whatever that thing was again. And then when you're about to push the button on something that's controversial or whatever, just do it scared and see what happens. And if you fail, fail forward.
I was just going to say, don't do it alone. You're not alone in it. Brainstorm, even if they're not on the social team or something like that. Utilize your resources.
Okay, last thing. If you could get rid of one thing in social, what would it be?
The people who shouldn't be on social.
You stole mine.
Comment section, yeah.
I was going to say anything political. It won't post. Just don't go up there. You can't comment. You can't do anything. I'm over it this year.
Algorithms. They're so complicated. I wish they would just be a formula. Tell me how I can make my stuff work or why it won't work and be the same across. Don't be so complicated.
I'm also in some algorithms that I don't want to be in right now that I'm trying to get out of. So I'm with you on like an opposite way. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you all for coming up here and for your time. And I appreciate it. Wow. All right.
Okay, question. So both Kristen and Athena, you ladies both mentioned being nimble, being quick. How do you balance that with all the crazy trends and demure and, oh, look, a strawberry, and all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world right now with planning? How do you plan like tentpole events and things, holidays, and things you know are just always going to be like your evergreen content? How do you stride between those two worlds and kind of leaving room for those trends or those things that are happening?
We do monthly briefs where we're preparing for our BAU, business as usual content, which would be all of those tentpole moments we need to hit. And we leave placeholders. Like, let's find something relevant at that week that we can tack onto. And maybe it's trending, maybe it's not, maybe it's just something we're thinking of in the moment, or we found some great content. But we try to leave that flexibility so we can have something inserted that feels a little more fresh instead of like fully planned. And that's worked really well for us, but I've really tried to tell my team, like, we have this solid brand persona because you need to know what trends are gonna make sense for your brand. Not every audio, not every meme is gonna make sense, but when it will, it's gonna hit so well that it's gonna feel like was meant for your brand. And I think that's the important part, is having those guardrails so your team does know when it's like, that's the trend for us.
Mm-hmm. A lot of what we do, we have environments set up to collaborate. So we've got a group Teams channel where you mute it, keep it pinned up top, and if you see something on your social that you think might be relevant, a trending sound or something like that, I'll just post it in there. I'll put the link to the team, and they will decide if it makes sense, if we can hop on it. A lot of what we talk about is your corner of the internet is different. Every single one of us, our corner of the internet, your social algorithm is different. What's showing up on yours is going to be different than mine. And so for that reason, a diverse team, if we're all in those areas and flagging those ideas, you're going to naturally find more of those. And then I think building the structure of allowing folks to do that. So we've got a dedicated social team. They will run to the airport and get something really quick, or use our employee content creators. So allowing people the flexibility to be able to go, if it's popping off on a trend, and go to the airport, and then we're posting it that same day.